Hello, my name is HAPruitt, and I am the author of the Anathalian series, and I am also an editor. And this video and this video series is going to be about editing your book. I'm going to explain how to edit a book, all the stages, all the steps. Not all steps are going to be absolutely necessary to edit a book, but all of the steps will be helpful in making your book the best it can be, whether you're traditional publishing or self-publishing. A lot of them will apply to both before you even get your book to the point of sending it to query or sending it to an editor. This will help you self-edit your book to make it the best it can be. If you want to know about my editing services or the 4 types of editing, I have that in a video, and I'll put that video down in the description you can watch. If you're interested in hiring me as an editor, or you just want to know like the basics of the 4 types of editing, then you can watch that video linked in the description. And if you have any questions or if you have suggestions of editing topics, please leave them in the comments. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the video for this week. So this is the 6th video in the editing series, and it will be about cutting the fluff out of your manuscript. So first, what is fluff? Basically, it's extra stuff you don't need because it makes your manuscript worse rather than better. So examples of what fluff can be: it can be wordiness. It can be using way more words than necessary. This is not expressive language or vivid descriptions. This is more like saying something in a roundabout way or using a bunch of words to say a simple idea. Like for example, they walked down the road. You could talk about your characters, 2 characters, they walked down the road. Or you could be wordy about it. Don't be wordy about it, but this would be the wordy way. The 2 of them both walked down along a road, which was a path made where people walked a lot. Both sentences say the same idea. And you probably like, that example is insane. Nobody would say that. But there are parts of that sentence that people do often do. I edit a lot of other people's stuff, and so I see, and I read other people's books, and so I see it. The 2 of them both walked down along the road, which was a path made where people walked a lot. Just don't worry about that extra wordiness. Say things clearly and efficiently, especially with things like that, things that are just really simple ideas. You don't have to do really wordy stuff. And your editor will often have to help you see if something is wordy. I do a lot of telling clients, like, this is a wordy sentence. This would be a better way to like trim it down so it's more clear. When you get wordy, it's just not clear, and so it's hard to understand. The next example of fluff would be repetitive ideas and words. Unless you are using repetition for emphasis, I'm being choked. For emphasis or connection, don't repeat ideas or words. Just don't do it unless you're doing it for emphasis. And this is usually clear. I do this a lot. It's very easy to repeat words when you're writing, and I see that a lot when I'm editing, that people will use the same word like 3 times in 3 lines, and it's just because your brain uses that word and you're like, that's a good word, and you keep using it. So keep an eye out for using repetitive words and ideas. Okay, the next example of what fluff could be: extra words. Just extra words that don't need to be there, but we use so very often in our language, and it's just too much. Okay, some examples: just, very, so much, so not in the sense of and so they did this, not in that sense. So like so much, like I was using it in the sentences introducing this idea. Really, just words that feel, it's other words that you add in because they make other words that they modify feel more extreme, feel more dramatic, but they actually water down those other words. Like just those extra words that we use in our language to try to emphasize to other people how major something is, but really we are just using a whole bunch of words that don't do much of anything. Okay, so another example of fluff: adverbs can be fluff. Okay, I made a whole other video about adverbs, and I will try to remember to link it in the description so you can watch that. Adverbs, man. Adverbs and adjectives. There's a lot to say about those. But watch that for an in-depth explanation. But basically, if your adverb repeats what the verb already says, like quickly ran, and running is a quick action, so you don't have to say quickly because you already said ran, which indicates they're moving quickly. So if it's like that, remove the adverb. Or if it could be replaced by a more specific verb, like if you say loudly said, that could be yelled. And just, you don't need that adverb that modifies a noun, that adverb that modifies a verb, because it could be one word that's more clear. Those two words don't make it more clear, they make it less clear, and the yelled would make it more clear. So if either of those is what's going on with your adverbs, go ahead and remove that adverb or replace it. And some adverbs that people just overuse a bunch. I talk so bad, guys. I talk so bad with all these fluff words, and you do too. I'm sure you do. If you don't, congratulations. Adverbs we overuse. Suddenly, completely, immediately, for the same reason as the previously 2 points. They feel dramatic, they feel like they express more, and they're really just like crowding up the language and just fluffing it up, just adding fluff that doesn't make it feel more dramatic. And also some other ones actually just, it's different for everybody. Just look out for the things that you put in extra that don't need to be there. All that stuff is fluff, and there's other examples, but I just kind of went over the ones that I see the most in my writing and in other people's writing. So why should you edit out fluff? Hopefully it's clear by now, but if it's not, it weakens your writing. It makes it weaker. Fluff feels more emotional and dramatic, but it more often than not, it feels like a weak attempt to sound better. You know, like kids, my kids are so bad about using adverbs to sound like something so dramatic. And they'll go, I just almost always never get candy. Or, you know, never, whatever it is, insert whatever. I just almost always never do this. And we as adults don't say that, but we use those specific words. Just almost always never, you know, use extreme words, you use fluff words to sound more dramatic. And you end up, like the kids, they end up sounding like, okay, like, I get that you're trying to make a point, but like, stop. And that's what it comes across in your writing. You sound like a overdramatic toddler. That's a little harsh, but it's usually not that bad, honestly. It's usually not that bad in writing, but it does sound like you're trying to be a little more dramatic than you need to be. Okay, so why should you edit out fluff? Second reason, it can be repetitive and unnecessary. Don't annoy readers by over-explaining or over-telling, like the wordiness or repetitive words or ideas or extra words. Sometimes when you're writing, you want something to be very clear, and so you try and explain it different ways, come at it different ways, like that example with wordiness. The two of them both walked down along a road, which was a path made where people walked a lot. Like, you're trying to explain it, you're trying to get this, but it's just wordiness. It's not explaining it when they walk down a road. Don't annoy your readers. Your readers are humans just like you, and they have experiences and life experiences, so think about what they will understand. Like that example, people know what a road is, and so unless it's a very different, weird kind of road, saying they walk down a road is going to suffice. You don't have to explain it and re-explain it, and even more complex ideas. Usually this is where authors fall into, more complex ideas. The author keeps repeating things to try and make it more and more and more clear, when really you repeat, and the reader's like, okay, I get it. And it's annoying to them. Sorry. And it's like a kid who explains their joke. Like, they tell the joke, and so that's like the first time they tell the joke, it's like the author saying it. You're like, okay, I get it. And then they're like, did you get it? And you're like, yes, I got it, child, thank you. And they're like, okay, no, I'm going to explain it to you because I don't think you got it. You're like, no, please don't. Please stop. And then they explain it, and then they explain it in another way, and then they explain it in another way, and you're like, okay, please stop. When that first telling of the joke was enough. And it is a skill when you can, as an author, say something without saying it at all. And that is the most beautiful thing, whenever an author can be subtle about things and not ever say it, but say it so clearly. And so when you over explain it, that removes that subtlety, and it becomes so direct and so like hits you in the face. People don't like that. They want to be told something through the adventure, through the action. Definitely there's a time to just directly say something, especially through dialogue. But I'm talking about when, like, you want to make a point and you want to make it really clear, and so you keep telling it and telling it and telling it. That's not necessary. People are going to get it through the story. Okay, so why should you edit out the fluff? This is becoming longer than I thought it would be. Why should you edit out the fluff? It makes your book easier to read and understand. Less clutter makes you have a clearer view, just like in your house. Right now I'm looking at all my toys spread across, and there's so much clutter. And the same thing in your writing when there's all these justs and actuallys and all this stuff. It's extra stuff that takes away from the meaning and takes away, it stops you from seeing, it stops your readers from seeing what you want them to see, and they're just seeing the language rather than the meaning, because there's so much to wade through. Okay, next reason why you should edit out the fluff. It strengthens you as a writer. Honestly, it challenges you, just like you've probably been listening to me and thinking like, oh, she's using a bunch of fluff words when she speaks. Yes, I do, so much. I do, like, all the time, just all the time. And it really challenges you to not lean on that stuff as a crutch to try and sound dramatic, to instead think about, or to try and make your point, like the quickly ran. It challenges you to think of words that are more specific and just hit home, rather than having a whole big long sentence. Think of one word that just encapsulates, I can write, encapsulates what you're trying to say with, like, this one beautiful little word, and then you give it to people like this one little present, and it's just beautiful, instead of giving them like this huge thing of clutter and like shoving it at them and being like, figure out what I'm trying to say through all this. You as a writer will improve your craft, will improve your way of communication if you challenge yourself to stop just using as many words as you possibly can to figure out what you're trying to say, and instead edit out the fluff, get rid of all that stuff, and get down to what you're really trying to say with fewer words. More efficient language is more efficient. It's more efficient. It strengthens you as a writer. So do challenge yourself to discern what is necessary and how to be more specific with less words. That makes you a better writer, to be more efficient with your language. So cutting the fluff, I would say this is probably a necessary thing to do. Like, you don't have to do it, and you can leave in the fluff. And there are instances that I read books that I'm not bothered by the justs and the actuallys and the immediatelys and the suddenlies, especially if they're used sparsely. But overall, you will communicate what you're trying to say better to your readers when you figure out what you're really trying to say and trim it down to that. So do attempt to do this yourself. And this is a large part of what my job as an editor is, because this is very hard to do when you've spent so much time coming up with all those words and you get so deep in all the words. Like just cleaning up the house full of toys. It's really hard whenever my house is so full of toys. I have 3 kids and they are boys, and they just fling everything everywhere and then leave it. Literally fling everything everywhere. And it's so hard to just know what to do or where to go or what to pick up first. And that's like that in editing it, when it's your book and you're so close to it and you don't know what to do and you're in the middle of it and you're like, I can't even see where to start. Your editor can stand back and kind of look around and say, okay, this is what you're trying to say. This needs to be cleaned up. This needs to be cut out, and they can help you with that. So do try this yourself. But if you can't, don't freak out and let your editor help you with that. My baby's eating my hair, so I'm going to go ahead and stop. He's been eating my hair through the whole video. Why do I care now? Because I'm done, and that's a way to segue. So let's segue. So that is the editing tip for this week. Please like this video. Please leave a comment. Please share this video with others. Please check out that video of my editing services and the 4 types of editing in the description below. And remember, this video is part of a series, so please watch the series so you can make your book the best that it can be. If you want to know more about Anathalion or HAPruitt, please follow me on Instagram at HAPruitt. You can find me on Amazon as an Amazon author, HAPruitt. Please watch my YouTube channel and all my cool videos on my channel, HAPruitt Anathalion. You can find me on the Facebook page, HAPruitt Anathalion. You can follow me on Goodreads by the name HAPruitt. and the book Anathalion, or you can go to my website where so much cool stuff about Anathalion is. The website is HAPruitt.com.